Hello everyone, welcome back to Well-Don Tanks. My name is Trent, and today we are talking about breeding one of my favorite catfish species, which is the Panda Corydoras. These are a very popular catfish species, and I want to go over how I breed them, how I raise them, and kind of what to look for. And as we see here, I have a group of about 14 Panda Corydoras in a 20-gallon long. I have sand substrate. I just like the look of sand in my tanks. You can actually use whatever substrate you prefer. And you can see a flurry of activity around this spawning mop that I've created out of yarn. It's just a flurry of activity around that. And we're actually going to be paying attention to the bottom right corner of the tank here momentarily, where we're going to see a telltale sign of Cory spawning. And you'll see the male kind of make a T with the female in like an acrobatic kind of way. It's a weird spawn. It looks cool. It's hard to catch on camera. And in honesty, Panda Corydoras are not the scatter 100 eggs around the tank in one go. They're much more slow and steady spawners in my experience. Now with Panda Corydoras, again, this is my opinion, this is my experience. There are so many videos out there of how to spawn Panda Corydoras, and I'm just going to share with you the techniques and methods that have worked for me. And I'm now raising over 50 fry, and I've had these Panda Corydoras for just a few weeks. So the spawning mops I created out of acrylic green yarn, super simple. The Corydoras will spawn around this, in this, and the female will actually lay their eggs inside of the mop. Now, I know this video section here is a little blown out with the lighting, but you'll see that the female is carrying an egg between her back fins. It's actually one of the coolest things I've seen, next to rice fish carrying their eggs. She actually just creates a little basket with her fins and just carries that egg around until she's ready to deposit it. And oftentimes the males are going to chase that female around, wanting to mate, produce, spawn. And it's just awesome watching this female run around carrying a single egg with her. And again, in my experience, this is not a scatter a bunch of eggs around the tank. This is a slow, steady spawner. I have tried, the cold water changes and all these other triggering things that people say you should do, when in all reality, food. Lots and lots of food is how I get my Panda Corydoras to spawn and spawn regularly. Now, after 3 to 5 days, I will pull the mops out of the tank, and by hand, I will go through them looking for eggs. Now, when I mean labor of love and slow and steady spawning, is the most eggs I've ever pulled out of 3 mops that I have in the tank was 25 eggs in one time. As the time I'm recording this audio for this video, I today pulled out 21 eggs, and it's been about 4 days since the last time I checked the mops. So you'll get varying results. I'm sure you may see more. The lowest I've seen, I've pulled a single egg out before. But you'll see it's really difficult to get the eggs on camera. But when you see an egg, you'll know what it is. And they're actually pretty sturdy eggs, to the point you can pick them up gently with your fingers. You kind of roll it onto your fingertip, and then you'll see me placing it into a separate container. Now this container is just a small cup that I actually got after I purchased a betta. I have tank water in there with a drop of methylene blue, which helps the eggs to not fungus. I know a lot of people like to use hydrogen peroxide, and some people I've even seen, they just let them hatch without using any additive to the water. Me, I have had the best success using methylene blue, and shortly here you'll see that I transitioned over to using a white container. Very difficult to film because the lighting just blows it out, but it allowed me to see the fry sooner after they'd hatched. So after a drop of methylene blue goes in the container with the eggs, I just add an air stone, just a little bit of bubbles. This is just going to help aerate the water, mix up the methylene blue, oxygenate the water, just let those eggs hatch successfully. And I've been doing this now for a few weeks, and this has been my telltale method of this. Now, if we focus kind of in on the center of the screen, you'll see a bunch of baby Panda Corydoras running around in the midst of this cloud of cherry barbs. The Panda Corydoras has been one of the most rewarding fish for me to spawn and raise, as they've also been one of the easiest for me to spawn and raise. Now, I have no experience with other Cory species. Unless we go way back in the channel, I had some albino Corys and I think emerald Corys. very accidental spawn. I had like 5 eggs stuck to the glass, and I tried to harvest them, raise them, didn't go too well. But Panda Corys, I want them to be more my gateway fish into things like stir-by Corys, maybe some, well, stir-by Corys really, maybe some other species of this, because I've actually really enjoyed keeping Corys, but just seeing the spawning behavior and seeing the activity in finding the eggs. It truly is a labor of love, as it's not a woohoo, I collected 100 eggs today. It's awesome, I got 10 eggs today, I got 5 eggs today, I got 10, 12 eggs today. I already said 10. Pick a number, and it's fun. It's fun going through the mops and finding eggs. It's fun seeing this happen. So to recap really quick here, I've done cold water changes. I've done these triggering methods that you see all over the internet, and I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just saying they do not increase my spawn rate of my Panda Corys. Having plentiful food, and I mean, you're going to feed heavy, feed heavier. Tons of food needs to go into the tank. High protein foods, I like pellets, I do, baby brine shrimp, I do frozen foods, bloodworms mixed in there, frozen brine shrimp, you mix it up with live brine shrimp, frozen brine shrimp, you're going to get a really high protein diet in there. Krill flake, they really like. Viber bites are okay. I've had really good success with the nano pellets. They love munching them off of the sand. And that is my number 1 method to getting these fish to, we'll say, trigger to spawn, is the amount of food I put in. I've noticed if I go a week of heavy feeding, I get more eggs. If I backed off the food, I get less eggs. Fish need the food to create eggs and the energy to spawn. More food, more eggs. And that's really where I've seen the most success out of it. You need clean water, you need all this, you need male to female ratio, you need to make sure your fish are sex, or to the size of spawning, they're age appropriate. I don't know how you want to say that, but it's so many people just say, yeah, cold water changes your fish will spawn, but they forget the food aspect of it. So please, down in the comments below, let me know your experience with Cory species. Which ones do you keep? Have you kept Panda Corys? Do you like spawning catfish, Cory catfish? What are your tips and tricks to getting to your Corys to spawn? I always enjoy hearing from you. I really appreciate you joining me in this one. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Consider the subscribe button. It's free to you, helps out the channel, and we will definitely see you guys in the next one.